refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine. Mtazamaji, tumekuandalia taarifa zinazogonga vichwa vya vyombo vya habari kutoka hapa jijini Nairobi na pia mashinani.
Wanahabari zaidi ya ubora wao wako ange kukuletea habari pindi zinapochipuka kutoka pembe zote za Kenya.
Kwenye kipindi cha Tamrini tunakuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja kufafanua na kuangazia masuala yanayokuhusu wewe mtazamaji.
Kumbuka, taarifa yenye thamani daima hupokewa kwa amani.
Hivyo basi usikose kuungana nasi kila siku ya wiki.
Tukupakulie na tukutaarifu taarifa yenye mnato kwenye runinga unayoienzi. Kwenye kurunzi mashinani,
sisi DC.
What was up with that, by the way? How can you call someone 25 times in a day? Was heaven burning?
Nayaga Menesi, I even bought you this milking mosdo because of that issue. Please let me speak.
Why are you begging her like that? That is the sign of weakness in a boy's child, okay? So if she doesn't want it, let her happen sharp pay.
So basically what you're saying, teacher, is Adito was now 247 out of 250.
Actually, it's 248. Who is laughing now? Where I tried, he couldn't even spell a simple word like nikumbum.
Spell it.
Nikumbum.
A stage play of Sarafina musical went down.
Mr. and Miss Soweto went down at Kahawa Primary School.
Outside of this music, outside of this thing that I've loved all my life, I realized that it was taking me to where I need to be.
The name is Degs. Basically, you know, I've been a music producer and artist in the game. Started off with Scamares, you know, which was my first track with Mad Tracks.
Bensol got to perform with the orchestra.
Extra pressure, baby, where you want and I'm born. You're killing the boy, of course. You're killing the boy, of course.
It is exactly at the top of the hour, and the news that is just coming in. President William Ruto has announced plans to have the National Youth Service, which is the NIS officers, to undergo basic training on the use of firearm, and the President has directed the relevant ministries, that is the Interior, Defence and Public Service, to make this come to fruition. We have that and so much more. We'll be linking up with our reporter Timothy Kipnusu, who was covering the 88th edition of the NYS Pass Out Parade in Gilgil. We have that and so much more for the next 1 hour. So talk to us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 1. And let's get started on that particular note. We start off with the head of state, where President William Ruto has defended the new university funding model. The president said under the new university funding model, the students have been put in 5 bands. Speaking during a town hall meeting, Ruto said the banding in the new funding model existed way before. The president said that he has added 1 band to the 4 bands that existed before to make them 5 to ensure no student is left behind in their quest to get higher education. At least 134,000 students applied for funding and 26,000 appealed because they had been placed in the wrong band and they did not belong to.
What was so wrong with the old funding model that we could not sit down and amend it? Because even a constitution of a country, you just don't wake up one day and bring a new constitution. We always go and say, hii clause imetufinya kidogo kama wananchi. We go to the parliament, they amend it, and they take it to the president to assent and sign it. So I feel we should go back to the old funding model, honorary degree at Baraton University. And there was one picture that really took my attention. I know most of you saw the picture. It was a little girl called Naomi who was in the midst of graduate, and he was there admiring all the graduates, the beautiful gown. Then I asked myself, why does this new funding model want to kill the dream of that young girl of one day graduating?
Any student who attends a national school has 85% chance of joining a university. In other words, I'm telling you that 85% of all students who go to a national school go to university. Only 10% of students who go to a day school have a chance to go to university. So when we find a child who has gone to a day school in some rural place, we give them a leg up, because it means they have to work extra hard to be able to attain the same grades. Because in many of those institutions, as I told you, Felix, they don't have laboratories. Many of them have very inadequate number of teachers. This is one hell of a conversation we must have. We cannot continue as a nation to have an education system that shuts out millions of the children of the poor. I don't know how to put it. It's as blunt as that. If you look at the curve of students in our universities, the children of the poor are absent.
Mr. President, my first question, and one of the biggest questions my people have been asking me, is why the rush? Why the rush in implementing a model that has a lot of technicalities? Because we are usually given a lot of promises. We will come to forums such as this, but we know that very little of it will be implemented. And Mr. President, we also know that corruption is the biggest public expenditure.
It is something that was very clearly thought out. And you said something like, we make promises that we never keep. Let me tell you, this is one commitment I made. The universities are here. The vice chancellors are here. They can tell you the commitments I made on this model were delivered last year, and it is making a difference in our universities. That is the reality. You did say that corruption is a big problem. And I agree with you, 100%. Corruption is a big problem. And I want to thank the university leadership, because part of the corruption that has been going on is on even the money that we give to universities. We decided that we are going to go using technology. I'm very happy that the university leaders accepted that we use technology. Unfortunately, our secondary schools and primary schools took us to court. They still want to deal in cash.
Your Excellency, you've said time and again that this new funding model is student-based. Well, my question is, why is it that students from private universities are only given loans as opposed to scholarships, just like it is in public universities, yet these students are all from taxpayers of this country?
And because we value the fact that even those in private universities are also Kenyan students, and they Their parents are taxpayers. That is why we haven't shut the door on them. We have said we're going to make public resources available to those students as loans, the same way we are making public resources as loans available to students in public universities.
So, you've spoken about cybers. In my local area, the next cyber you normally travel close to about 46 kilometers. I believe you've been there. Ama namna gani? So, mine is to ask on these persons with that live in marginalized areas if they will be able to access internet and all this connectivity for them to be able to be put along this new funding.
If you speak to your member of parliament, we have already agreed with them that they will set up an ICT hub in every ward in Kenya. We have changed the law. The CDF law that was used for just building schools, we changed the law.
And now to our top stories this afternoon. Despite the Kenya National Union of Teachers calling off their strike today, Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers KUPPET have vowed to continue with their strike even as schools reopen for the third term today. According to Mombasa Branch KUPPET Executive Secretary Lynette Kamadi, teachers will not go back to class until their demands are fully met.
Employ an additional 20,000 teachers. We want the government to honor the CBA, not give us promissory notes. We want the government to remit our third-party deductions to our respective banks and institutions to avoid being listed. And we also want the government of Kenya to stop hiring people on cheap labor and converting us into contractual workers. Teaching is not a calling, it's a very serious profession. We are not going to allow anyone here to be turned into a contract worker. Now that the police have not allowed us to conduct our business today to show the world that we have grievances, tomorrow is still a day. We shall come back here tomorrow and we shall do it. We will be here tomorrow, we are coming. I'm going to work tooth and nail to ensure we get the permit. So today, no school, no chalk. Don't show yourself near any teaching institution. Don't behave like a duck. Don't behave like a tortoise. Go home. Naenda jivinjari nyumbani, tunaenda kufanya maandamano kwa mitandao. We are going to start sending messages and salimiaring all those TSC CEOs. We shall share their contacts. We will salimia them until they honor us. Tumeelewana vizuri? KUPPET power. Power. Teachers power. Power. Teachers power. Power. Our unity is our strength. Aturudi shaka hola. Sisi tumeamua tunataka haki yetu. Na tunataka watoto wa wananchi wa Kenya wafundishwe. Mzazi mahali huko, jua mtoto wako kama yuko JSS hasomi. Kule hakuna walimu, wamewekwa watatu na wamepewa mshahara wa 17,000, hawawezi wakafundisha. Tunapigania haki ya mtoto wako, awe asome pia aje awe daktari, awe president, awe nini, lakini sasa serikali haiwezi kuturuhusu.
And we'll be monitoring the progress given that the Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Mr. Julius Migoso Gamba, will today be monitoring the reopening of schools for the third term calendar in Kajiado, Machakos and Nairobi respectively. And then thereafter he'll be addressing members of the Fourth Estate at the Lanana Primary School in here in the capital, that is in Nairobi. And once the CS addresses, will be giving you the latest in regards to that as well. The ongoing rains being experienced in some parts of the country have breathed new life to Lake Olbolasat in Nyandarua County that was drying up, exacerbating conflicts among local residents over water. Waters flowing through it have come as a relief not only for the locals, communities, but also to the broader ecological system that depends on the vital water source. Pauline Nasimiuna reports.
After enduring a prolonged period of drought, Lake Olbolosat, the only highland lake in central Kenya, is experiencing a significant revival. The lake's water levels have surged to 40% of its capacity, a dramatic turnaround from the less than 10% recorded just 5 months ago. The lake's near-dry state had led to increased conflicts among local residents, and now its resurgence is bringing much-needed stability to the region and cohesion.
Rahia wakati ziwa letu liko na maji juu lina usaidizi mwingi kwetu.
Toto wetu hata wakati kama huu wanaenda huko wanafua samaki na wanauza wanapata pesa.
The improvements in the lake's condition have sparked a call for further action from the community around Makereka village.
Serikali iko na uwezo wa kutengeneza hili ziwa litoe magugu ambaye iko huko ndani, kwa sababu iko na uwezo na kuleta matinga. Hiyo ziwa linaweza kuwa ziwa la maana na hata la kutusaidia.
Atusaidie kutengeneza hii barabara yetu, kwa kuwa hii barabara yetu iko na mashinda sana. Hakuna watu wanaweza kunja kupita kujionea hii ziwa letu, na unajua kuna mambo mengi sana inaweza onekana kupitia hii ziwa. Kama watalii wakati wanakuja tutapata yani usaidizi ama kazi.
Lake Olbolosat water benefits 5 other counties through River Ewasonyiro, among them being Laikipia, Isiolo, Samburu, Garissa and Wajir. Paulina Simil for Lunchtime News.
Still on matters climate, Mombasa County Government has been urged to expedite the formulation of a Climate Act policy at the county level to enable them tap into 39.3 billion financing locally led climate action program. Civil society groups in Mombasa say by not complying with the action plan requirements, a climate program funded by donors, it has denied the county opportunities to implement locally led climate resilience actions in cushioning climate-related disasters within the devolved unit.
In March this year, the Government of Kenya, in collaboration with development partners, secured 39.3 billion Kenyan shillings to help set up a financing locally led climate action program, popularly known as FLOCA, across the 47 counties. Its goal was to implement locally led climate resilience action plans and to strengthen national and county governments' capacity to manage climate risks. But to tap into the climate fund, each county was required to formulate a climate policy act, a budget, and a participatory climate risk assessment report stating residents' involvement. Requirements that so far 45 counties have complied, except Mombasa and Nairobi counties. During a roundtable community engagement and strengthening of a locally led climate actions in Mikindani Jomvu sub-county in Mombasa County, civil society organizations called out Mombasa County government for not fast-tracking its processes in being part of the FLOCA implementation.
It is a shock, a disbelief to realize that Mombasa County government, out of 47 counties in Kenya, only Nairobi and Mombasa County have not complied with the requirement of FLOCA, which is a program under the National Treasury.
As the process is going on, we want to advocate that the CSOs can raise their voices to put the county government of Mombasa into accountability.
The CSOs noted that by not being part of the FLOCA program, the county is missing out, yet they are victims of climate-related disasters.
Losing such an opportunity is losing enough finance that is going to help us in a big way to help us get a good income for our community and be able to improve so many issues in our environment.
So if Mombasa County will not comply to this requirement, where will the National Treasury will not release these funds? It means out of the 47 counties, Mombasa will be among the counties that will lack that fund just because the county of Mombasa has not complied.
Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, Migori County Department of Health has partnered with private and faith-based health facilities across the region in an initiative to help reduce maternal deaths in the county. Through the initiative, a nursing team has been delegated to conduct outreach programs to educate women on how to combat challenges faced during pregnancies.
Migori County is one of the areas in Kenya still experiencing high rates of maternal and neonatal fatalities.
Today, the only thing, I think this is the only...
Speaking during a sensitization exercise for expectant mothers, John Okidi, the county's reproductive health service coordinator, noted that 38 women died during childbirth in Migori County last year.
Any death, because we know pregnancy is not a disease and we don't expect any mother to die because of a pregnancy. So any mother who die because of pregnancy, we must comprehensively review that death and find what really made this mother to die. What are some of the modifiable factors that made this mother to die? Then we develop interventions that we track their implementation to ensure that we prevent a mother dying in a similar circumstance.
Okidi highlighted the need for close collaboration between the government, private and faith-based health facilities to further reduce these deaths.
Then we were doing 673 deaths per 100,000 live births, which was very, very high. And that's the time now that we start ensuring that we work very close with the private sectors, the implementing partners, to improve on that one.
Dr. Mayank Puri from Life Care Hospitals urged expectant mothers to attend all recommended antenatal clinics and avoid using traditional herbs to induce labor.
I think that the community needs to understand is that they should avoid inducing labor at home using traditional herbal methods. They should always come to the hospital, to the doctor, to the proper gynecologist. We have our resident gynecologist, Dr. Otto, and they should come and consult the doctor.
Angeline Langi, the nursing officer for Suna West Sub-County, stressed the importance of pregnant women seeking immediate medical attention if they experience complications.
In the facility as Migori County, we have postpartum hemorrhage as one of the leading causes of maternal mortality. Another cause is following closely, we have preeclampsia, that is high blood pressures during pregnancy, and other obstetric complications now in minimal numbers as they diminish.
Still within the confines of the Nyanza region, over 5,000 residents of Ndhiwa constituency in Homa Bay County turned up for medical checkups and treatment during a free medical camp at Ndhiwa Primary School. The Ndhiwa Health Day Medical Camp was organized by Ndhiwa Constituency Development Office in collaboration with the Kenyatta National Hospital KNH, Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, as well as the Kenya Medical and Research Institute KEMRI, among other partners. It covered a range of chronic and neglected tropical diseases, including gigas infestation, high blood pressure, cervical cancer screening, ear, nose and throat checkups, as well as HIV tests.
The importance of this is early detection and disease management. You cannot just treat diseases. They go back to where they came from. You don't know the environmental factors and things that brought them there. They come back again with progressed conditions. So what we have done here today is what is taking people to Kenyatta National Hospital, what is taking to Moi or to KUTH. So instead we have brought those people here, the experts.
We have a big burden, the big disease burden in this constituency or in this sub-county. And that is why it has been realized by the Member of Parliament that if this becomes an annual event, then it can serve even as a lesson to many other sub-counties.
And now let's move online. In a bid to ensure that children use the internet safely, effectively and optimally, TikTok, a short-form mobile video platform, has launched a safety training program for children. The initiative that seeks to empower children to harness technology is geared towards ensuring that everyone can express themselves freely and creatively while staying protected from potential harm.
The social media platform has partnered with institutions to offer training on how to use the internet safely. According to Fortune Sibanda, who is TikTok's Director of Government Relations and Public Policy for the Sub-Saharan region, incorporation of experts to train children on safety will help the platform to develop forward-looking policies and address regional safety concerns.
It targets, minors from the ages
18 right up to 18, but it also targets teachers in universities and schools. It also targets parents. It also targets guardians. It also targets the user community. The reason why we're doing this is our strong belief in the theme Safer Together. Safety is a collaborative effort.
The issue of social media, if it is misused, can easily lead to loss of kids. Sometimes kids can be very psychologically affected. Remember, these kids are in the stage of development. Children don't finish developing until they are through with their puberty and they become young adults. So depending on the kind of content they get, it can influence the way they view the world.
The youth were urged to continue exploiting the platform to make an extra coin.
TikTok is a place where you can grow your business, where, use your creative talents to put yourself out there. So we've got many ways that we've put in for the users, for the user community, not just in Kenya, but around the world, in which they can actually use their creativity to earn money.
Pia challenge ingine unapata students hatuna access to this smartphone maybe, and also we don't have access to internet, so we depend on our parents. So unapata inakuwa ngumu, unapata unaingia online for like once in a while.
Nancy Okwari, Lunchtime News.
Now, property worth millions of shillings has been destroyed after a supermarket caught fire in Ruiru town, Kiambu County. The residents say the fire that began at around 5 a.m. at a Power Star supermarket was caused by a generator explosion. Police have begun investigations to establish the cause of the fire and the actual damage caused.
The residents say the generator produced unusual noise and a smoke before it exploded, causing the fire that gutted a large section of Power Star supermarket, destroying property worth millions of shillings.
Mimi nilisikia generator ikiwaka. Ilipowaka moshi ikaanza kutoka mingi. Mara hiyo moto nayo ikatokezea.
Nikasikia generator inaguruma kwa mgurumo wa juu sana na moshi mingi. Mimi nikasongea hapo kuangalia.
Tuliitwa asubuhi tukaambiwa nyumba yetu inachomeka, ndio tulikimbia tukakuja huku, lakini ya kushangaza ni ati Ruiru vile iko kubwa, hakuna maji, gari hazifanyi kazi.
The residents' father say it took an hour for firefighters from both Kiambu town and Thika to arrive at the scene to help extinguish the fire because the town lacks a fire station.
Watu wa kusima moto tumengoja karibu 30 minutes, hakuna mtu alikuwa amefika. Tumepika simu mpaka tukachoka.
Ruiru DCIO Jeremiah Dubai told journalists at the scene that investigations have begun to establish the cause of the fire and the actual damage that happened, calling on residents to continue being vigilant. Tilio Marco for Lunchtime News.
Let's see what is happening in other devolved units. The push to make education free for all is gaining momentum, with a Changamwe Member of Parliament, that is Omar Mwinyi, backing Speaker Moses Wetangula's directive to consolidate all bursaries and public scholarships into one fund. Details of this and other stories making headlines is in our County News Roundup.
While issuing university bursary checks to needy learners in his Changamwe constituency, Omar Mwinyi regretted the lack of fees was subjecting families to a lot of stress.
Wengine hawataweza kujiunga na chuo kikuu kwa sababu hawana pesa. So that we were just tulikuwa tunajaribu kuleta mawazo ya kwamba mpaka sasa tutumie mfumo gani ya kwamba watoto wasome wasiwe na pressure wao wale wazazi wao.
On politics, a section of professionals in different fields from Imenti region of Meru County has called on President William Ruto to consider the region in his government appointments, saying they have been sidelined.
Despite our overwhelming support to President William Ruto, whom we still support, we have lost most of the positions that were even there pre his presidency. Today, most of the CEOs, most of the chairmen, most of the board directors are being exited.
In neighboring Embu County, Mbeere North Member of National Assembly Geoffrey Ruku has urged teachers to prioritize dialogue with the government before downing their tools in order to ensure students are not affected.
Naomba jameni walimu wetu msije mkaenda kwa mgomo. It is true your welfare is critical. It's true you have a very noble cause of teaching our children across the Republic of Kenya. But at the same time, we have to balance between our rights and the public good. The public good is to ensure watoto wetu watasoma masomo yao without any kind of interruptions.
Elsewhere, the body of a middle-aged man has been recovered in Saia River in Samburu County a week after it was swept by floods. Locals appealed to the county and national governments to repair the bridge that has claimed over 20 lives.
Kila mara mvua ikinyesha hapa lazima tupoteze watu. Ninaomba leo serikali na hasa wale watu wa National Roads Highway Authority, tafadhali hao watu wamepoteza maisha ya watu wengi sana. Leo hatutaki hata mambo ya kutengeneza barabara kidogo kidogo. Tunaomba bridge, standard bridge ambayo itaokoa maisha ya hawa.
Condolences to the family there in Samburu. And on that note, we are taking our first commercial break here on KBC's Lunchtime News. Don't go too far. We still have more for you, including business and sports news.
Kenya is stepping into a bright new future where every citizen's retirement is not just secure, but golden. The Retirement Benefits Authority, RBA, in conjunction with the National Treasury, shall be unveiling RBA's 6th Strategic Plan and the National Retirement Benefits Policy on Thursday, August 29, 2024 at the Kenyatta International Conference Center between 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Imagine a future where your golden years are truly golden, marked by dignity, financial security, and peace of mind. We are simplifying the rules, extending our reach, and embracing innovation to craft a retirement system that's as resilient as it is inclusive. This is a promise that no one will be left behind and that the future is brighter when we build it together. Let's make your future not just secure, but extraordinary. The launch, which will coincide with a 2-day pension sector convention, shall be live on KBC TV and shall be streamed live on RBA's social media channels. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Well, go on, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She says she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Cold,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Ever crazy. Undoubtedly entertaining. And mind-boggling. The savage netizens capturing that unique moment.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, human rights defenders are warning that there may be a well-calculated scheme to derail the ongoing campaign against female genital mutilation, FGM. Despite a significant decline in FGM over the years, some communities are medicalizing the practice in what is seen as a desperate attempt to circumnavigate the law and keep the retrogressive practice alive. As Sarafina Robi now reports, questions now abound as to whether FGM can indeed be eradicated by the year 2030 in the wake of this new challenge.
This is Okon Abdi Gohad, a mother of 4 who hails from Garissa County in the northern part of Kenya. Behind her singing are sad reflections of undergoing FGM at a tender age of 3 years old.
I have undergone FGM while I was very young, at tender age of 3 years. And I'm also a polio survivor. I got the disability because of polio.
Being disabled due to polio, her family will distance itself from her.
When I was young and growing in that boarding school, I thought I don't have parents, I don't have relatives because I have been there alone. Nobody visits me in boarding school.
Her story mirrors that of other disabled girls at her native home.
Walikuwa wanafichwa huko ndani. Wanaambiwa wazazi wanasema hawa kwa vile hawatembei hawaendi mahali, wao ndio walikuwa kwanza wanafanyiwa sana hiyo ukeketaji, na haikusema kwa dini, na si lazima saizi hiyo ukeketaji iendelee kwa community yetu.
Giving birth was an uphill task for Okon.
Ukiwa unapata periods ni shida, ukiwa unazaa ni shida, tena after ukizaa pia kuna mashida nyingi unapitia.
Most women in the northern part of Kenya, like Okon, face the same challenge, but unlike her, have to undergo de-infibulation.
There will be what we call de-infibulation, which is the opening up of that, external genitalia that's been sewn together. When it is opened up, the right thing to do is to leave it open. But you will find that in a clinical setup, the woman can be sewn back together again so that she goes back to how she was.
With the prohibition of the FGM Act 2011, new ways emerged to circumvent the law, including medicalization of FGM.
This is a situation whereby it is a healthcare provider who is actually performing FGM, so it is distinguished from traditional FGM.
The Anti-FGM Board confirms the increasing prevalence of medicalized FGM.
There are reported cases of medicalized FGM in counties such as Nyamira, Kisii, Narok, including also Aveta among the other counties.
This is illegal in the country and punishable by law.
The sentence is 3 years imprisonment or a fine of 200,000. For a child under the Children's Act, the fine is 500,000, but imprisonment is still 3 years. It can be higher, but it cannot be lower. So it's what we call mandatory minimum sentences that are provided for under the Act.
This puts on the spot the existing gaps in the fight against FGM.
But we don't actually have the definition within the Act. But it's also a challenge that we just have one blanket sentence. There's no healthcare provider who is trained to cut. So what they're doing is very unprofessional, it's unethical.
With the goal set to eradicate FGM by 2030, the anti-FGM civil society organizations are at the forefront of ensuring this is attained.
Bring together about 82 organizations as we speak who are now members of this network. The network gives the survivors a safe space to come and talk about themselves, to come and discuss issues that have been affecting them.
Last week kule Meru kuna wasichana bado pia walikuwa wanapelekwa kufanya ukeketaji. Kwa hivyo hili ni jambo ambalo bado linaendelea hapa Kenya, na kupitia muungano huu itakuwa rahisi kwetu kuweza kuhamasisha jamii.
Kama sisi new generation, si pia tunafaa tukuwe na our own kind of means, our own cultures. So why don't you now leave the other cultures in Zimbabwe and to embrace this new one and to come na zile new?
Even though the general FGM prevalence rates have declined to 15% from 21% according to the KDHS report, there's an increase in medicalized FGM across the years for females between 15 to 49 years of age at the rate of 14.7% and 19.7% for 14 years and below, posing a great danger of clawing back on gains achieved.
And in other news, drivers of public service vehicles in Narok County have been urged to exercise caution during this period that students are travelling back to school to curb road carnage associated with schools reopening. Narok County Governor Patrick Olentutu regretted that several accidents occur during the back-to-school rush as drivers become less cautious when struggling to meet the demand.
At a time when students to go back to school for their third term, public service vehicles drivers and other motorists have been urged to be more careful as they go about their daily business. Narok County Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu urged parents not to allow any passenger service vehicle to carry students in excess, and drivers should not be in a hurry to go for several trips, as this may cause accidents in the rush to make more money.
Mara kwa mara tumepata magari zinapata accident wakibeba watoto wetu. Tunaomba msiwe na haraka, utafika tu pale ulikuwa unaenda. Na hiyo ni maombi yangu. Hata nyinyi wazazi, ukiingia hiyo gari na unabeba watoto, wakati ile unapeleka watoto wako shule, mwambie driver unabeba watoto wa shule, enda polepole mpaka tufike pale tulikuwa tunaenda.
Traffic officers will also urged to be more vigilant and take actions on owners of unroadworthy vehicles.
Nataka pia kuwahimiza the traffic officers hapa pia wahakikisha kwamba magari haziendi kwa mwendo wa kasi, vile magari haziwezi kubeba zaidi ya vile ambavyo wanavyoweza kubeba.
Governor Ole Ntutu also warned wheat farmers against exposing themselves to theft when they accept payment of large amounts of money through cash instead of through banks.
Tulikuwa tumekubaliana na wakulima ya kwamba mtu yoyote asikulipe pesa ambayo inaitwa ni cash. Ikiwa ni pesa anakulipa, mwende kwa account, akulipe kwa account, muachane naye kwa amani. Na ule ambaye ako kwa benki atakusaidia. Lakini mambo ya kupeana cash na mtu anakuangalia ukiwa na cash na unakuja kulala kwa ploti kadogo hapa Dulele, mtu atakuja kukuimbia usiku na atachukua jasho yako.
Elsewhere, a group of young people have announced plans for fresh street protests to mark Katiba Day on Tuesday. The demonstrators are set to conduct a peaceful march to Harambee House, where they intend to protest their petition directly to President William Ruto. The group is protesting against the myriad of issues, including the new university funding model and formation of a broad-based government.
At a press briefing earlier today, a section of students voiced their concerns about the new university funding model, arguing that the previous system was more inclusive.
I want to call upon all comrades and parents, whether from Turkana, whether from Sugoi, whether from Eldoret, to come out in large numbers on 9th of September. We are going to be on the roads and we are going to march in solidarity. We are not going to be stopped. We are not going to fear anyone.
Wazazi, ikiwa hamtajiunga na watoto wenu Gen Z, basi muanze kujiandaa kutafuta watoto wengine. Manake wito wetu ni kwamba tutakomboa taifa la Kenya within our generation.
They claim the new structure has categorized 80% of students into higher cost bands 5 and 6, making it challenging for many students and parents to afford the fees.
So parents suffer because they cannot afford to pay the fees. Now, which article or which process is arrived at allocating the bands?
We want to go back to the old model, which was so inclusive. There's no student who was not funded by the university.
Additionally, the students criticized the means testing system database, calling it flawed and misleading, and alleging that it fails to accurately represent students' financial situations, resulting in unfair funding placement.
That we are undertaking a mass action, a general strike, a people-led agitation for the respect of our constitution. Our political class has decided to do nothing but subvert the sanctity of our constitution.
Authorities have not yet responded to the upcoming protests. Ben Chumba, Lunchtime News.
Welcome to the world of business. Now, unscrupulous business people could be fueling the high food prices in sub-Saharan Africa by engaging in price gouging. This is according to the COMESA Competition Commission that is engaging policymakers to address the issue.
Rising food prices are a key driver of inflation in sub-Saharan Africa, which has a disproportionate impact on poorer households. Climate change has led to food scarcity, and COMESA is alarmed that traders are practicing price gouging that is pushing food prices up.
Agri markets are simply not working well. We have traders who are benefiting from this situation, who are suppressing farmer prices so that they buy at a low price. And then price gouge and sell at a very high price to consumers. And that exacerbates poverty in that the farmer gets a lower price, he has no incentive to produce next year.
The COMESA Competition Commission met diplomats in Zambia representing COMESA member states to push for policy changes in the region to deter restrictive practices.
They're talking about inflation. They say average inflation in the COMESA region is about 24.2%. The bigger part of that average is on food and non-alcoholic beverages, 23.3%. The rest fall below that. So food has become a problem everywhere. And competition policy and law, as we have assembled here today, should play a part in ensuring that we address this rising food inflation.
COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Mpundu Kapwepwe said that with over 80% of Africa's population depending on agriculture, concerted effort is required to ensure enforcement of competition law to address food inflation, food security, and eradicate poverty.
Competition policy and law plays a complementary role to the efforts of COMESA Secretariat in addressing market imperfections in our market, including agriculture sector, which may not be adequately addressed through other policy interventions and thereby contribute to regional integration agenda. COMESA is alive to the fact that an efficient and integrated common market cannot thrive in an environment of restrictive, unequal, and discriminatory business practices.
So the rise in food inflation that we are seeing not just in COMESA region, not just in Africa, but the world over, should be tackled with concerted efforts.
Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
The Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA, has warned of heavy consequences to advocates who engage in unethical practices. In partnership with the Advocates Complaints Commission, IRA Chief Executive Officer Godfrey Kiptum says the collaboration will facilitate investigation and prosecution of complaints against advocates relating to insurance claims.
Hundreds of insurance clients in Kenya have faced harrowing experiences as unscrupulous advocates exploit their vulnerability during the claims processing whenever their claims fall due. In response, the Insurance Regulatory Authority has sealed a partnership with the Advocates Complaints Commission, hoping to expedite effective handling of such complaints and help reduce insurance fraud and other malpractices within the industry.
Because the complaints, by virtue of the fact that the advocates are becoming more by the day, becomes, of course, a little more also on the other side. So the complaints are many, including, for example, failure to inform clients. That for us may not be something that can be quantified in terms of money, but it is a very, very serious complaint, because we expect that advocates who are acting for particular clients should be able to inform their own clients and make sure that they know how far they are progressing with their matters.
Yes, ACC has really assisted us, and policyholders have got what is due to them at the right time. Though, of course, it's not a walk in the park. Because once you have not been paid and you have gone to complain to them, it takes a while before you even know where to go and complain. But I think with this effort and collaboration, we'll be able to sensitize also members of the public, policyholders and beneficiaries, that if they think the advocate is not handling them well, then they have a recourse to complain to the Advocates Complaint Commission.
The partnership will also involve sharing resources and expertise between the two bodies, ensuring that complaints are handled by those with the necessary knowledge and experience. Trevor Nyendo for Lunchtime News.
Absa Bank Kenya PLC has reported 10.7 billion shillings in net profit for the first 6 months of this year, up to 29%. That was driven by a double-digit increase in income. Like banking industry peers like KCB Group and NCBA, who have declared interim dividend payouts, Absa Bank Kenya has also declared 20 cents per share in an interim dividend payout to shareholders.
Absa Bank Kenya marginally reduced loans and advances to customers to 316.4 billion shillings, down from 317.9 billion shillings during a similar period last year. This could be due to a growing stock of gross non-performing loans that hit 39.4 billion shillings, up from 32.2 billion a year ago. The lender earned 27.4 billion shillings in interest income from loans and advances to customers, up from 20.2 billion shillings it made during a similar period last year.
You see that our NPL has increased by about 7.2 billion, from 32 billion last year to about 39.4. So it's about 7 billion shillings increment in NPL. Of this figure, about 4 billion is actually on the personal household. So it's to the earlier point we mentioned that we've seen the retail customers getting impacted, especially because of the high interest environment.
The lender booked 4.3 billion shillings in interest income from government securities, down from 4.7 billion shillings it registered during a similar period last year. In addition, non-interest income rose 8% to 8.8 billion shillings. Despite a reduction in the net loans and advances to customers, the lender marginally increased the loan loss provision from 5.16 billion shillings to 5.17 billion shillings on account of the 39.4 billion shillings in gross non-performing loans and advances.
Reduced interest rates have a great benefit, for industry. We will be able to lend more to our customers. Private sector credit will continue to grow, and it has a positive impact as well on NPLs. And so the actions that have been taken over the past 1 year by the Monetary Policy Committee have had a positive impact on some of the key indicators, inflation being the biggest,
Just like was the case last year, Absa Bank Kenya has declared 20 cents per share in interim dividend payout to shareholders. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
2 social community groups in Kajiado and Nairobi counties will now be able to equip learners with digital skills following the completion of social enterprises growth projects by LG Electronics. The projects in Ithinyika Primary School in Kajiado and Nairobi's Huruma were each awarded 1 million shillings to finance key investments for increasing their impact. Now, the 2 community groups won the 2024 LG Ambassador Challenge and an annual contest that seeks to recognize the impact of social enterprises in their communities.
Selected overall 53 teams, and this is one of the winners that we are supporting the school of these solar electric systems and the water tanks and some computers and then kids school books. So this is most one of the things important CSR activity what we have so far.
We educate children and we help their families to grow and to remain united. And so when LG approached us with this program, we thought, it's a good deal. So let us work together. We partner together to develop our communities and to make lives better for the, enrichment of everyone in the community.
The computers will help them enhance their knowledge because these kids, most of them even do not know how to talk English. But as much as we try as teachers to talk to them, this can be a practical for them.
Finally, welcome to the world of sports. Now, Jordan Schleck once again dominated and won the fourth and final leg of the 2024 Loop Safari Gravel Series held in Vipingo Ridge in Kilifi County. It was the second win of Schleck, who also won the first leg of the series held in Tatu City.
Jordan Schleck needed 4 hours, 40 minutes and 50 seconds to win the 120-kilometer Loop Men's Elite category. During the Safari Gravel Series in Vipingo, Joel Kiaviro and Stanley Ngugi claimed second and third positions in 4 hours, 57 minutes and 37 seconds and 5 hours and 55 seconds respectively. In the women's category, Alepa Mary, who emerged third in the Hell's Gate edition, made an incredible comeback with a victorious time of 6 hours, 26 minutes and 16 seconds, beating Kendra Masige and Monica Jelimo, who were second and third respectively. The final leg also saw the overall series team winners awarded a grand prize of 250,000 shillings. Kenyan riders were second and took home 200,000 shillings, while Aria's Solar Vortex were third and pocketed 150,000 shillings. The 60-kilometer loop was won by Rosemary Wairimu and Nicholas Baraza, while the 20-kilometer loop was won by Kevin Kazungu and Kate Crowley. Meanwhile, in a groundbreaking initiative to combat crime and social defiance in Kawangware, Rocky Africa Foundation partnered with Crossover Basketball Ambassadors, a Kenyan non-profit Christian ministry, to support local basketball at Gatina Primary Grounds. 120 children and youth as low as 11 years old took part in the tournament. The event was part of a broader mission to create positive change in the community through sports and mentorship. The tournament showcased intense competition across 4 categories: the under-11, under-13, under-15 and seniors. The event not only showcased the athletics talent of the youth but also emphasized the role of sports in steering young people away from crime. Since its inception, Crossover Basketball Ambassadors has seen 185 children currently enrolled in its basketball facility in Kawangware.
And that story by Barclay concludes our coverage this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. But you can always find more on our webpage at www.kbc.co.ke. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Anne Wangeshi. And before I go, I want to leave you with a story of the military tales that has been prepared by our very own, that is Ben Troy Njue, who had the opportunity to sit with one of our gallant soldiers who now is retired. That is John Rioba, who served in the Kenya Army of the Kenya Defence Forces for the last 28 years and rose through the ranks to become a commander of the 5th Battalion, famous as the Fighting Five in Gilgil. Good afternoon for now.
For this week's edition of Military Tales, we are in Lanet, Nakuru County. Here we visit one Kenya Army veteran, Colonel retired John Rioba, who served as an army man for 28 years and retired as a commandant in one of the military schools in the country. Colonel John Rioba was born and bred in Kisii County, where he also undertook his early education.
I was born in Kisii, Nyamira County. Sometimes back in 1958. I grew up in Kisii. I was educated in Kisii in Tana Primary School. After that, I went to Cardinal Tunga High School, Mosocho, where I learned from 1975 to 1979. I did my EAC, and I joined the army thereafter.
He joined the Kenya Army in 1980 as a cadet with a solid sports background. With time, Colonel Rioba would rise to the position of commander of the 5KA or the 5th Battalion in Gilgil.
And others. Then I was selected to join cadet in 1980 here at Armed Forces Training College, where I graduated in 1980, that's October, then joined 50 ACP. 50 ACP is 50 Air Cavalry Battalion. Air Cavalry Battalion, 50 Battalion, the Kenya Rifles, where we were with SK Njoroge, who was my commander, from the rank of second lieutenant to major. I did stuff. I went to training. I was a trainer. Also, I did a lot of training in sports. Came back again to 5K, that is 5th Battalion, the Kenya Rifles. We usually calling the Fighting Five. Then I joined 50, that is 50 now, Kenya Battalion as a commanding officer. I stayed there for about 2 years. Then I was again transferred to Kabete, where I was given the appointment of a commandant.
Having been part of peacekeeping missions in Angola and Sierra Leone, he knows the real value of peace.
War is not a good thing. If you could go to Angola and see how the Portuguese managed to put up Angola, colonized Angola, and put up structures, but all were destroyed. And who were suffering is the locals. And especially women and the children suffer a lot. You go to them to convince them that you must have peace. Some are wild, some have taken a lot of illicit brews.
In the country, he was tasked with leading his men in fortification of the Kenya borders.
Border patrols. It's not easy also. It is in Kenya, but it's not easy also because it's just fighting. You never know when you go out, you will come back.
His sports background, especially in athletics and soccer, catapulted him to a military coach and was also at one point the chairman of the military soccer team Ulinzi Stars.
Actually, I was a champion in 800 meters, running with Kinabili Conchela. I was a coach in most of the sports. I've been in the chairman of Ulinzi Stars and took them to Tanzania or East African Games in Tanzania. So I did a lot in sports.
In retirement, Kano Rioba decided to join his wife in farming and cattle rearing, where he would later capitalize in farming traditional vegetables or organic farming.
People feel that it is a low class. It is vegetable selling is for women and low class people. But I did it with my vehicle. I would come to the shamba, get the vegetable, open tie them, go to the roadside and sell. I could sell very well and I enjoy it. It was shaky at first. I feared, I'm a Kano, I can't do this. How can I sell vegetable? How can I do this?
Kano Rioba would later realize that farming was a far more rewarding venture than even his former job, despite selling his vegetables by the roadside.
I planted vegetable, I sold vegetable, actually along the roadside, and I enjoyed having that. Comparatively, when I was living, I didn't have as much money as when I came to organic farm.
Retired commander has a message for his colleagues who are retiring on how to prepare and make the switch to retirement.
Where you are, you drop down. Don't stay where you are. If you stay where you are, you will expect everybody to salute you. You come down. You come to the heart where you say, what can we do?
A family man and a father of 3 notes that his motto in life, which he has instilled in his kids and his former colleagues, is hard work.
I have 3 boys. The firstborn is an engineer, registered engineer. His work is in America now. The secondborn is a pharmacist. The third one is a lawyer, advocate of High Court. All are married with their children. So I have 6 grandchildren. My motto up to now. I usually tell even my children and my grandchildren they have to work hard. There is nothing for free.
Rioba's message for Kenyans:
peace is the most important thing in this. Let the political divide do their things, but let them give us peace. Peace to enjoy and to look, because the politician cannot bring food into your table.
In his leisure time, Kano enjoys time in the church, is also a motivational speaker and a life coach. Before we left, we took a tour of his farm, which keeps him and his wife busy. his message to serving officers, he quotes a lesson he picked from one of his former commanders, General Daudi Tonje.
General Tonje brought something very good in the military. He brought the medical, he brought the Pillar 5, which has helped a lot of officers and men to go out.
For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njue.